Feared by all, cherished by one? Why do you see beauty in me? Human Captain Elias Gray stood on the bridge of the Starship Odyssey, staring at the endless stretch of space ahead. Stars glimmered like tiny jewels scattered across black velvet. He had explored dozens of systems, yet none filled him with the same mixture of awe and unease as this one. Reports had reached the Galactic Council about a creature so powerful that entire fleets sent to investigate it had vanished without a trace. Some called it the Shadow Warden. Others simply whispered about a being that could destroy anything it desired. Legends of its terror had spread to every corner of human space, and now Elias was tasked with finding it. The bridge crew moved quietly around him. Lieutenant Mara Chen checked the navigation console, her fingers flying over holographic displays. "Captain, sensors are detecting unusual energy signals. They're faint but different," she said, her voice carrying both excitement and worry. Elias nodded. "Good. Keep tracking them. I want a clear picture before we approach." He turned his gaze to the main view screen. Space stretched endlessly, silent and indifferent. He had been trained to fear nothing, yet the thought of confronting something feared by all the galaxy made his chest tighten. But curiosity, human curiosity, was stronger than fear. That was why he had chosen exploration over command of a military vessel. He wanted to see, to understand, to experience what others only whispered about. The energy signals grew stronger as they neared a dimly lit system. Stars in the background flickered unnaturally, and small asteroids drifted slowly, almost deliberately, around an invisible center. Elias leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Bring us closer, scan everything, I want to know what we're dealing with." The ship's sensors hummed softly. A soft, pulsing light appeared on the screen. It was massive, far larger than any known ship or asteroid. It seemed alive. Not just alive, but aware. The crew held their breath. For the first time, the legends felt real. Lieutenant Chen's fingers trembled slightly as she adjusted the sensor readouts. "Captain, it's moving, it's scanning us too. It's intelligent, I think." Elias felt a thrill run through him. "Then we'll approach carefully. No sudden moves. Let it see we mean no harm." The crew exchanged uncertain glances. No human had ever been this close to the Shadow Warden and lived to tell the tale. The stories always ended the same. A fleet would vanish and no one would ever know why, but Elias was different. He wasn't here to fight. He was here to understand. The first glimpse of the creature made everyone gasp. On the view screen, a massive form moved among the asteroids, glowing with faint bioluminescent patterns that shifted constantly like ripples in water. Its body was sleek and black, but the light it emitted was mesmerizing. It was terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The ship's lights reflected off its surface, revealing contours that suggested both power and intelligence. Elias whispered almost to himself, "So this is what they feared." The warden watched them, not angrily, not aggressively, curiously. It had been hunted and feared for centuries, and yet this small human ship had not fired a single weapon. It sensed something different about the humans on board. Most species reacted with fear, aggression, or attempts to capture it, not these humans. Their captain looked at it with wonder, not hatred. Elias activated the communication system. "This is Captain Elias Gray of the Starship Odyssey. We mean no harm. We come only to observe." For a long moment there was silence. Then the warden moved. Not toward them, but around them. Its movements were fluid, almost like a dance, as if it was deciding whether they were worth noticing or perhaps just curious. The crew held their breath, every second stretching into eternity. Suddenly, alarms blared. A minor asteroid collided with one of the ship's shields, throwing sparks across the bridge. The warden reacted instantly, a sudden burst of energy sweeping the asteroid away with ease. The crew stared in awe. This being had the power to destroy them in an instant, yet it chose precision and subtlety. Elias felt a mix of fear and fascination. "It's not attacking," he said quietly. "It's assessing us." The warden's glowing patterns shifted, pulsing faster as if communicating in a way Elias could not yet understand. He stared, trying to find meaning in the lights. "We should try to communicate," he said. "Not with words. Show it we understand beauty, understanding, respect." He instructed the crew to project simple patterns of light and sound, gentle tones, and basic visual designs representing human art and music. The warden paused, then responded with a series of lights, forming intricate patterns that made the ship tremble slightly with their energy. It was creating art. Elias felt a shiver of awe. The creature that had terrified entire fleets was capable of creation, of appreciation, of something he recognized as beauty. "Captain," Lieutenant Chen whispered, it's responding, not aggressively, almost curiously. Elias nodded, a smile forming despite the tension. "Then we continue. Slowly, carefully, we show respect, not fear. That's all it understands." Hours passed as they observed each other. The warden circled the ship, every movement deliberate. It did not attack. It did not flee. It simply watched and in its own alien way communicated. For Elias, it was the most exhilarating experience of his life. He felt a connection he could not explain. It was as if this being, feared by all, was waiting for someone to truly see it, not as a monster, but as it truly was. Night fell over the distant star system, though the concept of night was meaningless in space. The warden settled among the asteroids, its glow dimming slightly, almost contemplatively. Elias watched, captivated. "I think it's lonely," he murmured. The warden had lived for centuries, feared and hunted by everyone. What must it feel like to have no one to truly understand it? Suddenly, an alert broke the quiet. The ship's systems reported a malfunction in the propulsion grid. Sparks flew as energy surged through the corridors. "We're losing power," shouted the engineer over the intercom. "If the core overloads, we're finished." Elias rushed to the engineering console, fingers flying over the controls. The crew scrambled, panic rising in their eyes. Then, without warning, the warden reacted. A pulse of energy swept toward the ship, stabilizing the grid and preventing disaster. The bridge crew stared in stunned silence. The warden had saved them, not out of obligation, but curiosity. Perhaps it wanted to see what these humans were capable of, or perhaps it had sensed Elias' intent. Elias exhaled slowly, a sense of awe and relief washing over him. "It saved us," he said. "It didn't have to, but it did." The warden hovered near the ship, its lights pulsing gently. Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest. He realized that fear had nothing to do with this moment. Curiosity, respect, and understanding had brought them together. He wanted to learn more about it, not destroy it, not exploit it, just know it. For the first time in centuries, the warden experienced something unfamiliar, a connection with another being. It had been feared by all, yet here was a human who did not recoil, who did not attack, who instead looked with wonder. It was confusing and yet comforting. Elias sat back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. He knew this was only the beginning. The warden had not yet revealed all its secrets, and neither had he. Something deep and unspoken had begun between them, a bond that might change everything, if they both survived. Outside the window, the warden's glow dimmed slightly as it drifted among the asteroids. Elias felt certain of one thing: this being, feared by all, was not what the galaxy believed. And he, a human with nothing but curiosity and courage, was about to find out why. Hours passed in quiet observation. The crew began to relax slightly, marveling at the presence of a creature they had only feared in stories. Elias continued to study the patterns of light, trying to decipher meaning. Each pulse, each flicker seemed deliberate, almost like a language. And in every pattern, Elias saw glimpses of something deeper, a mind that had survived centuries, a creature that had endured pain and fear, and yet retained a sense of beauty and intelligence that surpassed any known being. The warden moved again, closer this time. Its lights shimmered in a complex rhythm. Elias leaned forward, feeling the pull of curiosity stronger than ever. This was not a monster. This was a being waiting for someone who could see it truly. And now, that someone was him. The Odyssey floated silently in the void, two intelligent beings observing each other across the gulf of space. One feared by all, the other courageous enough to see beyond fear. The night stretched endlessly, but for Elias, it was the most brilliant and alive night of his life. Somewhere deep inside the warden, a realization stirred. This human was different. Others had come to kill, to capture, or to flee in terror. This human did none of those things. He did not see only a monster. He saw something more, something beautiful. Something worth understanding. And that small, unspoken understanding, the bond forming silently across space, was enough to change everything. The stars outside continued to twinkle. The warden hovered in the asteroid field. And Captain Elias Gray, human explorer, knew that the journey ahead would be unlike any he had faced before. The creature feared by all might just become the being cherished by one. Captain Elias Gray could not sleep. Even though the Odyssey's lights dimmed and the crew rested in their cabins, he remained on the bridge, staring at the asteroid field where the Shadow Warden hovered. The creature's glow pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, and Elias felt strangely drawn to it. He had spent years exploring new worlds and encountering alien life, but he had never met a being like this, feared by all, yet displaying a depth and intelligence he could not fully understand. Lieutenant Mara Chen walked in quietly, carrying a small cup of synthetic tea. "Still staring at it, Captain?" she asked, trying not to sound worried. Elias smiled faintly. "I can't look away. It's more than what anyone says. This warden, it's not just powerful. It's, I don't know, alive in ways we've never seen before." Mara set the cup beside him and looked out the viewport. The warden's lights shifted, flickering in slow, deliberate patterns. "Do you think it understands us?" she asked softly. Elias leaned back, running his fingers through his hair. "I think it does in its own way. It saved the ship earlier. That wasn't instinct, that was choice, and choice means awareness, intelligence. Even more, maybe it feels something we cannot yet name." Hours passed, and the warden continued its quiet observation. Occasionally, it moved among the asteroids, its massive form reflecting the faint starlight. Elias found himself sketching the patterns of its glow on a holographic pad, trying to find meaning. He noticed subtle repetitions, almost like a rhythm in music. Perhaps this was how it communicated, not with words, but with light and motion. The calm was suddenly broken by a message from the ship's sensors. "Captain," Mara said, "there's movement near the outer edge of the asteroid field. Small ships, alien ships. They're approaching fast." Elias frowned. "How many?" "Too many to count right now, but they're organized. They look like a fleet." Elias' heart raced. If these ships discovered the warden, they would attack immediately. He knew the legends. They never showed mercy. He activated the communication console. "Open a channel. Let's try to observe first. We don't want to start a fight unless we have to." The approaching ships transmitted a warning in a language Elias barely recognized. Mara quickly ran a translation through the ship's AI. "They want the warden destroyed or captured," she said grimly. "They consider it a threat to the entire region." Elias nodded, a grin set to his jaw. "Then we need to protect it. Keep the ship ready, shields up, but no weapons unless absolutely necessary. We're not here to fight unless we have to." The warden sensed the approaching danger. Its lights brightened and pulsed rapidly. Elias could almost feel its alertness radiating toward the ship. He whispered, "It knows. Don't worry, friend, we won't let them hurt you." Suddenly, one of the smaller alien ships darted forward, firing a warning shot. It exploded harmlessly against the asteroid field, but the sound echoed through the ship's sensors. The warden reacted instantly, moving like a shadow, creating a barrier of energy that forced the attacking ship back. Elias watched, heart pounding. It was not attacking to destroy, it was defending. Every movement was controlled, precise, and careful. Mara whispered, "It's incredible, I've never seen anything like it." Elias nodded. "And that's exactly why it needs us. No one else understands it. Everyone else sees only the monster." Hours passed as the fleet circled, probing for weakness. Elias realized that if they wanted to survive, they needed more than defensive maneuvers. They needed trust, the trust of the creature they were protecting. He activated the ship's external cameras and began transmitting a pattern of lights and soft music into the asteroid field, the same signals he had used before. He hoped the warden would recognize them. Slowly, its glow changed, responding to the patterns. The lights on its body shifted rhythmically, almost like a dance. Elias felt a wave of relief. It was acknowledging him, showing understanding. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected a malfunction in the auxiliary engines. Sparks flew across the corridor as the ship shuddered. Elias realized that if the engines failed completely, they would be trapped between the warden and the alien fleet. "Engineering, stabilize the core," he shouted. The crew worked frantically. Yet again, the warden intervened. A pulse of energy swept through the asteroid field, redirecting debris and stabilizing the ship's systems. Elias felt a rush of gratitude. The warden had saved them twice now. It was protecting them not because it owed them anything, but because it trusted them. The alien fleet, observing from a distance, seemed confused. Their weapons could not penetrate the warden's shielded aura, and they could not predict its movements. Elias realized that this was the perfect moment to communicate further. "Prepare a holographic projection," he ordered. "We're going to show it that we value intelligence and creativity, not just survival." The crew arranged simple shapes, patterns, and colors that shifted in time with music. The warden hovered above them, absorbing every detail. Then it responded. Its bioluminescent patterns grew more complex, faster, and yet harmonious. Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest. They were sharing something, an exchange of thought, emotion, and understanding without words. Hours turned into a full day as the humans and the warden continued their silent conversation. The alien fleet remained on the outskirts, unable to act. The warden had created a protective zone, a barrier of energy that no weapon could penetrate. It was clear now that attacking it would be futile. The humans realized that the warden was not a mindless destroyer. It was an intelligent being, capable of strategy, choice, and perhaps even compassion. By the second night, Elias felt a bond growing stronger. He spoke softly, almost to himself. "You've been feared for so long, but I see you. Not as a weapon, not as a monster, but as something extraordinary." The warden's glow pulsed slowly, a gentle acknowledgement. It was responding not with aggression, but with what Elias could only describe as curiosity and trust. For the first time in centuries, the warden had found a being that looked at it without fear, without the desire to control or destroy. The alien fleet, realizing that their attacks were ineffective, began to withdraw slowly. Their movements were cautious, but Elias knew they would return. The galaxy had always feared the warden, and fear could turn to aggression in an instant. He had only a temporary reprieve. "Captain," Mara said quietly, "do you think it will trust us completely?" Elias smiled faintly, though concern lingered in his eyes. "Trust is earned, Mara, and I think we've earned some of it, but this is just the beginning. We have to prove that humans can be different, that we can be allies instead of hunters." The warden drifted closer to the ship, almost inspecting it. Elias leaned forward, studying its form. Every movement was deliberate. Every glow seemed to carry meaning. And in the silence, Elias understood something important. The warden was not only powerful, it was lonely. Feared by all, it had lived in isolation for centuries, misunderstood and hunted. Elias felt a surge of determination. "We'll stay with you," he whispered. "We'll help you. Not because we have to, but because we want to." For the next few days, the humans and the warden developed a routine. The Odyssey stayed within the asteroid field, observing, learning, and communicating. Elias continued to transmit patterns of light and music, while the warden responded in increasingly complex ways. Each interaction revealed more about its intelligence, its memory, and even its sense of aesthetics. Elias noticed small things, the way it arranged asteroids to form symmetrical shapes, the way its light pulses slowed when observing calm human behavior. The warden, in return, began to allow small gestures of trust. It would approach the ship without threatening movement. It would hover close enough that sensors could detect fine patterns on its skin, patterns that seemed almost like a language. Elias realized that this was a rare gift. Few had ever been allowed to see the warden so closely without being attacked. One evening, Elias stood at the viewport, watching the warden drift among the asteroids. "You've been through so much," he said softly. "Feared by all, misunderstood, hunted, but not by me. I see your beauty, I see your strength, I see your mind, and that's enough." The warden's glow brightened, pulsing in response. It lingered longer than usual, almost as if acknowledging Elias' words. For the first time, Elias felt a connection that went beyond curiosity. It was mutual understanding, respect, perhaps even friendship. Suddenly, the sensors detected a faint disturbance, another alien ship, smaller than the first fleet, approaching quietly from behind an asteroid. Elias stiffened. "They're not done yet," he said. "We need to be ready." The warden responded immediately, its glow brightening as it positioned itself between the ship and the approaching threat. Elias smiled faintly. "You've got our back, we've got yours." And in that quiet understanding, a new bond was forged. The creature feared by all was beginning to trust one human. And that human, Captain Elias Gray, knew that this bond would change everything, not just for them, but perhaps for the entire galaxy. For now, the immediate danger had passed. But Elias knew the journey ahead would test them both, in ways neither had faced before. Yet he felt certain of one thing: the warden was not a monster, it was extraordinary. And he, a human, was determined to show it that it could be seen for what it truly was, not feared, but cherished. Days passed as the Odyssey remained within the asteroid field. Captain Elias Gray and his crew had grown accustomed to the presence of the Shadow Warden, though the vast creature still inspired awe and caution. Every movement it made seemed deliberate, as if it were aware not only of its surroundings, but of the humans observing it. Elias felt a strange comfort in its presence, yet he knew that beneath the glowing, mesmerizing exterior, the warden carried centuries of fear, solitude, and survival. He had spent hours trying to understand it, communicating through patterns of light and music, carefully observing its responses. What amazed him most was its intelligence. Every gesture, every change in its bioluminescent glow seemed to carry meaning. It wasn't merely a predator or a force of destruction. It was a thinking, feeling, observing being, a creature with a mind as deep and complex as any human's. Lieutenant Mara Chen approached the captain's console with a slight frown. "Captain, the readings are unusual. There's a hidden energy signature beneath the largest asteroid cluster. It seems deliberate, not natural." Elia's eyes narrowed. "Could it be a shelter, a place it considers safe?" Mara nodded. "Possibly, but it's unlike any natural formation I've seen. It almost looks engineered." Elias tapped a series of commands on the console. "Then we'll go see, but we approach slowly, no sudden moves. The warden trusts us enough to observe safely, and I don't want to break that." The Odyssey moved carefully toward the cluster, sensors scanning the hidden energy signature. As they drew closer, a massive opening appeared among the asteroids, large enough to house the shadow warden comfortably. The interior glowed faintly with soft lights pulsing rhythmically. Elias felt a shiver run through him. This was not just a hiding place, it was a home, and it held secrets. The warden floated ahead of them, leading the way. Its movements were cautious, almost ceremonial. Elias could feel its focus, the intensity of its attention. It was aware of the human ship, yet it allowed them inside its sanctuary. This act alone spoke volumes. Few beings had ever been permitted to approach this close without fear or aggression. Inside, the asteroid revealed a hollowed chamber. Strange holographic images flickered in the soft glow, showing scenes Elias could not fully interpret at first. Then, slowly, he began to understand. These were records, archives of events long past. Battles, fleeing ships, civilizations falling, and among them a timeline of the warden's own life. "Captain, look at this," Mara said, pointing at a holographic image. It showed the warden as it had appeared centuries ago, surrounded by ships of its own species. "It wasn't always alone," she whispered. Elia's heart pounded. He realized that the warden had once belonged to a great civilization, now long gone. Their technology, their culture, and their lives had been erased by galactic conflicts. The warden had survived where all others had perished, and in surviving it had been forced into solitude, hiding its strength to survive. No wonder it was feared by all. A being of such power, seen without context, would terrify anyone. The warden hovered silently, as if acknowledging the revelation. Its glow pulsed slowly, almost contemplatively. Elias felt a connection deepen. Here was a creature that had endured pain and loss beyond human comprehension, yet it had survived. Not out of aggression or hatred, but sheer determination and intelligence. "Maybe that's why it responds to us differently," Elias said softly. "We don't attack, we don't fear, we respect. That's new to it." Mara nodded. "It's like we're the first to see it for what it truly is." Elias walked closer to the viewport of the asteroid chamber, looking at the warden's enormous, glowing form. "You've carried this alone for centuries," he said. "Feared by all, hunted by everyone, but not by me. I see you, I understand you, and I want to help." The warden responded with a subtle change in light, a slow, rhythmic pulse that Elias recognized as acknowledgement. It lingered near him, not threatening, not distant, but present. For the first time, Elias felt that the bond between them was more than curiosity. It was trust. Over the next few days, Elias and the warden continued their cautious exploration of the chamber. Holographic records revealed fragments of the warden's past. Its species had been explorers and creators, like humans, seeking knowledge across galaxies. But war had come, empires had attacked, and the warden's kind had been nearly wiped out. It had survived by hiding, by learning to avoid detection, and by becoming the legend that terrified everyone else. Elias felt a pang of sadness. "You've been forced to be feared, not admired," he said. "All those years, all that time alone." The warden's glow dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging the truth of his words. Yet it remained near the ship, allowing them to share this moment. Elias realized that trust had been earned, step by step, through respect, patience, and understanding. One morning, the warden guided the Odyssey to a small interior chamber where the holograms focused on a strange object. It appeared to be a device, complex and alien, with delicate patterns of energy flowing through it. Elias could sense the purpose, though he could not fully understand it. Mara analyzed it with the ship's scanners, noting unusual energy readings. "It's a tool of some sort," she said. "Maybe a storage device or a way to communicate across vast distances." Elias knelt, studying it closely. "It's incredible. Whoever built this, they had knowledge far beyond anything we've seen." The warden's glow intensified, almost proudly. It lingered near the device, as if to show that it valued this object, a remnant of its lost civilization. Elias realized that this was more than survival. The warden had preserved the memory of its people, holding on to knowledge and culture that had otherwise been erased. He turned to Mara. "We need to learn from it, not just about the warden, but about its civilization. Humanity could benefit from this knowledge." Mara hesitated. "But what if others find out? They'll want to take it, they'll want to control it, or destroy it." Elias nodded grimly. "We protect it. We do not let fear decide what happens. That's our responsibility." Days turned into a week. Elias and the warden developed routines of observation and communication. The captain learned to recognize subtle signals in the warden's glow, indicating moods, curiosity, or warnings. The warden, in turn, began to recognize patterns in human behavior, showing a level of understanding that surprised even the seasoned crew. One evening, Elias projected a simple holographic of a human forest, with soft sounds of wind and flowing water. The warden hovered close, its lights pulsing slowly, as if absorbing the scene. Then, to Elia's astonishment, it began to manipulate the holographic projection, adding alien flora and patterns of its own design. The two forms of intelligence, human and warden, were creating together, blending beauty and understanding. Mara watched silently, tears forming in her eyes. "It's communicating through creation," she whispered. "It's showing us it trusts us." Elias nodded, feeling a swell of emotion. "It's more than trust, it's friendship, perhaps even something deeper, something neither of us fully understands yet." The calm was shattered by a sudden alert. The ship's sensors detected a fleet approaching, larger and faster than the one they had seen before. Elia's stomach tightened. "They found us," he said. "We need to warn the warden." The warden reacted immediately, glowing brightly as if bracing for conflict. Elias took a deep breath. "We fight only if we must," he said aloud. "We protect, not attack." The humans prepared the ship, while the warden positioned itself between them and the approaching fleet. Elias realized that the creature's power was immense, yet it was guided not by aggression but by protection. It was not a weapon, it was a guardian. As the fleet entered the asteroid field, their weapons ready, Elias projected a pattern of light and sound, a combination of human art and music, aimed at calming the warden's energy and communicating unity. The warden responded, its glow intensifying, creating a shield of energy that reflected the attacking fire harmlessly into space. The fleet faltered, confused. They had expected an uncontrollable monster. Instead, they faced a being of incredible intelligence, capable of strategic defense and deliberate choice. Elias realized that this moment was proof of what he had been saying all along. The warden was not a threat in the way others believed. It was a mind, a being capable of understanding, beauty, and protection. Hours passed, and the fleet eventually retreated, realizing they could not outmaneuver or control the warden. Elias exhaled, a mix of relief and pride flooding him. He looked at the creature hovering nearby, its glow softening. "You've done it," he whispered. "You've shown them who you really are, and you've trusted us to help you." The warden pulsed in response, almost like a heartbeat. Elias realized something profound. The galaxy could fear it, legends could distort its image, but here, in this moment, it was understood. By one human, and that understanding was enough. Elias turned to Mara. "We've uncovered its past, its strength, its loneliness. But we've also seen its mind, its creativity, its intelligence. And that's the most important part. The rest of the galaxy will take time. But for now, we've made a friend. And a friend this rare is worth everything." The warden drifted closer, its glow warm and steady. Elias reached out instinctively, though he knew it could not touch in the human sense. And yet, in the silence between them, he felt the connection. Not just trust, but recognition. Two beings, different in every way, understanding each other deeply. The galaxy outside remained vast and indifferent, but inside the asteroid chamber, a bond had formed that nothing could erase. The warden, feared by all, was slowly opening to a human. And Captain Elias Gray knew that the journey ahead, dangerous, uncertain, and filled with challenges, was also filled with hope. Hope that fear could be overcome. Hope that understanding could triumph. Hope that even the most feared being could be cherished by one who saw its true beauty. Captain Elias Gray felt the tension in the air before the alarms even sounded. The Odyssey shuddered as distant energy signatures flared across the sensors. The alien fleet that had retreated days ago was returning, larger, faster, and angrier. Elias ran his fingers through his hair, staring at the blinking red dots representing the incoming ships. "They're back," he said quietly. "And this time they're not testing. They're coming to destroy." Lieutenant Mara Chen's hands flew across the console. "Captain, they've adapted. Their weapons are stronger, faster, more precise. They won't be fooled by tricks this time." Elias nodded, his mind racing. He turned to the viewport where the Shadow Warden hovered, its glowing patterns reflecting the rising tension. "We fight only if we must," he said softly, "but we protect, no matter what." The Warden's glow intensified, pulsing like a heartbeat, almost as if it understood every word. Elias felt a strange reassurance. For all its terrifying power, the Warden's intelligence and awareness had already proven that it was more than a force of destruction. It was a protector. The first wave of ships entered the asteroid field, firing cautiously. The Warden reacted instantly. Pulses of energy swept through the field, redirecting missiles harmlessly into the void. Elias watched, breath held, as the creature moved with incredible speed and precision. Not a single shot touched the Odyssey. "Look at it," Mara whispered. "It's not attacking them." "It's protecting us," Elias nodded. "Exactly, and that's why we trust it." The alien ships adjusted their strategy, sending smaller, faster vessels to flank the Warden and the Odyssey. Elias knew they could not rely solely on the Warden's power. Human ingenuity had to play its part. He activated the ship's auxiliary drones, small automated units designed for reconnaissance and distraction. "Deploy the drones in a staggered pattern," Elias ordered. "Draw their attention and confuse them. The Warden will handle the heavy defenses." The drones zipped through the asteroid field, creating interference and false signals. The Warden responded immediately, its energy pulses carefully synchronized to deflect attacks while keeping the drones safe. The humans on board could only watch in awe. Every movement the Warden made was precise, controlled, and intelligent. It was not chaos, it was strategy. Hours passed as the battle unfolded. The alien fleet realized that their usual tactics would not work. The Warden anticipated every move, while the humans adapted their strategies on the fly. Elias felt a surge of pride. Here was proof that humanity's curiosity, intelligence, and cooperation could stand alongside one of the galaxy's most feared beings. Suddenly, a massive ship broke through the asteroid field, larger than anything the crew had seen. Its weapons powered up, aimed directly at the Warden. Elias' heart pounded. If this shot landed, it would destroy everything: the Warden, the Odyssey, and possibly the entire field. "Shields at maximum, divert all power to forward defense," Elias shouted. The ship's systems groaned under the strain. The Warden reacted instantly. It surged forward, creating a barrier of energy between itself and the massive ship. The weapon fired. The pulse of energy hit the Warden's shield and bounced off in a dazzling display of light. The crew cheered, but Elias knew the danger was far from over. The alien fleet was relentless. He realized that this was the moment to strengthen the bond between human and Warden. Elias activated the ship's holographic system, projecting patterns of light and sound designed to communicate coordination and trust. The Warden responded, altering its own glow to match the signals. Together, human ingenuity and alien power created a seamless defense that the attackers could not predict. Despite the intensity of the battle, Elias noticed subtle changes in the Warden's behavior. Its movements were not just defensive, they were protective. It positioned itself in ways that shielded the Odyssey from the worst attacks. It calculated the risks, assessed the threats, and acted with purpose. Elias realized that the creature had chosen to fight not for aggression, but for the humans who had earned its trust. As the battle continued, Elias piloted the Odyssey closer to the Warden, coordinating movements in real time. He issued commands with calm precision, trusting the creature to follow and respond. The crew moved as one with the Warden, creating a rhythm of defense and counterattack. Then came the critical moment. A smaller, faster alien ship managed to slip past the Warden's shields and targeted the Odyssey's core. Ilias acted instinctively, diverting energy to defensive systems, but it wasn't enough. The ship shook violently as the vessel's core destabilized. The Warden reacted instantly. It surged forward, intercepting the ship and absorbing the energy pulse with a shield of its own. The Odyssey stabilized. Ilias' heart raced, and he realized the depth of the bond they shared. The Warden was not just powerful, it was aware, protective, and capable of understanding human life in ways no other being had ever done. The alien fleet, witnessing the Warden's precision and the humans' coordination, faltered. Their attacks became disorganized, their ships moving without the confidence of strategy. Ilias knew victory was within reach. He turned to Mara. "Prepare the final maneuver." "We coordinate with the Warden, strike as one." Mara nodded, fingers flying over the console. The ship's drones aligned with the Warden's energy patterns. Ilias initiated the holographic projection again, this time as a signal of attack coordination. The Warden responded immediately, amplifying its energy pulses to create openings in the enemy formation. Together, human and Warden executed a flawless counterattack. The alien ships were forced to retreat, unable to withstand the combined strategy. One by one, they disengaged, vanishing into the depths of space. The asteroid field returned to silence, broken only by the hum of the Odyssey's engines. Ilias exhaled, feeling the adrenaline fade. He looked at the Warden hovering near the ship, its glow soft and steady now. "You've done it," he whispered. "We did it together." The Warden pulsed gently in response, its patterns slow and deliberate. Ilias realized something profound. This creature, feared by all, had chosen to trust and protect humanity. It had recognized their intelligence, their courage, and their respect. And in return, it had shown them the true meaning of strength, not through destruction, but through protection and understanding. Hours later, the crew worked to repair the ship and assess damage. Ilias remained on the bridge, watching the Warden drift among the asteroids. He reflected on what had just happened. The galaxy would still fear this being, and other fleets would undoubtedly come. But now, humanity had a chance to change perception. They had proven that fear could be met with understanding, aggression with cooperation, and solitude with friendship. The Warden approached the ship slowly, glowing warmly. Ilias extended a hand instinctively, though he knew physical contact was meaningless. Yet in the quiet connection between human and alien, a bond existed, strong, unspoken, and unbreakable. Mara joined him at the viewport. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. It's not just the Warden's power, it's its mind, its intelligence. And the way it trusts you, it's extraordinary." Ilias nodded. "Yes, we've earned its trust, but more importantly, we've proven that trust can exist between species even when fear is expected." As night settled over the asteroid field, Ilias activated the holographic interface once more. This time, he projected scenes of human kindness, music, and art. The Warden hovered nearby, its glow pulsing in harmony. They shared a quiet moment, not of words, but of understanding. The bond between them was more than survival. It was mutual recognition, respect, and perhaps the beginning of a friendship that could reshape perceptions across the galaxy. Suddenly, the Warden emitted a pulse that Ilias had not seen before, a rapid, rhythmic pattern that felt almost like a question. He studied it carefully. "Do you trust us?" he whispered aloud. The Warden's glow dimmed slightly, then pulsed gently in return. Ilias smiled faintly. That was the answer. It trusted them. He realized then that this bond would guide their next steps. The galaxy might still fear the Warden, but they now had an ally, intelligent, powerful, and capable of understanding humanity in ways no one else could. And for Ilias, that was worth every risk, every challenge, and every fear he had faced. The crew celebrated quietly, but Ilias remained at the viewport, watching the Warden drift. He knew this was only the beginning. The Warden had survived centuries of solitude, fear, and hunting. Humanity had shown it a different path, a path of respect, understanding, and mutual protection. And in that moment, Ilias realized the truth. The Shadow Warden, feared by all, had found one human who could see its true nature. And in return, that human had found a being unlike any other, powerful, intelligent, and capable of trust. Together, they had faced impossible odds and emerged stronger. The galaxy beyond the asteroid field remained vast and indifferent. Yet within the safety of this hidden sanctuary, two unlikely allies had discovered something extraordinary. They had discovered the power of understanding, the strength of cooperation, and the promise of a future where fear did not dictate actions. Elias turned to Mara quietly. "We've proven something today, not just to them but to ourselves, and this is just the start. The Warden and humanity, together we can face anything." The Warden hovered nearby, its glow steady and reassuring. Elias felt a sense of calm he had never known in all his years of exploration. For the first time, he believed that fear could be overcome, that understanding could thrive, and that even the most feared being in the galaxy could be cherished by one who truly saw it. And as the stars twinkled silently outside, Elias knew that their journey had only begun, and that the bond between human and Warden would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. The asteroid field was quiet now. The Odyssey hovered in the center, its engines humming softly. Captain Elias Gray stood at the viewport, watching the Shadow Warden drift among the rocks. Its glow pulsed slowly, steady and calm, a reflection of the trust that had grown between them over the past weeks. The recent battle had proven something profound. Fear could be replaced with understanding, and strength could be shown through protection rather than aggression. Elias turned to Lieutenant Mara Chen, who had been quietly analyzing the Warden's energy signatures. "We've seen what it can do," he said, "but now we need to help it understand us, not as threats, not as outsiders, but as allies." Mara nodded. "It's learning quickly. I've noticed patterns in its pulses. It responds to everything we show it, our music, our art, even the way we talk to it. It's almost like it's curious about humanity." Elias smiled faintly. "Curiosity is powerful. That's why humans explore, why we survive, why we connect. And I think it's why the Warden is letting us in." Days passed in this quiet routine. The humans shared glimpses of their world, holographic projections of forests, oceans, cities, and stars. They played music, sometimes softly, sometimes loudly, letting the Warden feel the emotions embedded in sound. Slowly, it responded. Its glowing patterns grew more intricate, more deliberate, almost like a language. Elias realized they were beginning to understand each other, not through words, but through recognition of intelligence, creativity, and emotion. One evening, as the ship floated silently near the Warden's hollowed asteroid chamber, Elias projected a scene of human art, paintings, sculptures, and holograms of cities and landscapes. The Warden hovered closer, adding its own light patterns to the projection. The combination was mesmerizing. Colors, shapes, and movements intertwined, forming a beauty that was neither purely human nor purely alien. It was collaboration, creation, and communication all at once. Mara watched, awe on her face. "It's expressing itself. Not just responding, it's creating alongside us." Elias nodded. "Exactly. This is the connection we've been building, trust, understanding, and now mutual respect." But peace was never permanent in the galaxy. Sensors picked up distant energy signals, fleets moving through space, investigating the same sector. Elias felt a pang of worry. "Others will come," he said. "They've already seen what the Warden can do. Some will fear it, some will want to control it. Some will want to destroy it." The Warden pulsed in response, steady and calm, as if acknowledging the truth of his words. Elias understood. It had faced these threats for centuries, had survived them, and now it had allies who could stand with it. The first fleet appeared on the sensors, a mixed armada of alien ships, wary and cautious. Elias briefed the crew quickly. "We protect, we coordinate, no unnecessary risk, but no retreat. The Warden fights with us, we fight with it." The alien ships advanced slowly, scanning the asteroid field for weaknesses. Elias and the Warden had formed a silent rhythm. When one detected a threat, the other responded. The Odyssey's drones flitted across the field, creating diversions, while the Warden's energy pulses redirected attacks harmlessly into space. Together, they were an unbreakable team. One of the larger alien vessels fired a concentrated beam at the Warden. Elias' heart raced. "Shields up, full power to forward defenses," he shouted. The beam collided with the Warden's energy field, bouncing harmlessly into space. The pulse of light illuminated the asteroid field in dazzling colors, reflecting off the rocks and the Odyssey's hull. The crew cheered, but Elias remained focused. Victory was not guaranteed. The Warden surged forward, creating a protective barrier around the Odyssey and the surrounding drones. Elias maneuvered the ship in perfect sync with its movements. The battle was chaotic, yet their coordination was flawless. Human strategy and alien power complemented each other, making them an unstoppable force. Hours passed as they defended the asteroid field. One by one, the alien ships realized they could not win. They retreated, unable to match the combined intelligence, strength, and cooperation of human and warden. Elias exhaled deeply. They had survived not through brute force alone, but through understanding, trust, and teamwork. After the battle, silence returned. The warden hovered near the Odyssey, its glow soft, almost contemplative. Elias stepped to the viewport. "You've been feared by all," he said quietly. "But you've trusted me, you've protected us, and you've shown us the true meaning of strength." The warden responded with a slow, rhythmic pulse. Elias interpreted it as acknowledgement, perhaps even gratitude. He realized that the bond they shared had grown beyond survival. It was connection, trust, and mutual respect. Over the next few days, Elias and the warden explored the asteroid chamber further. The warden revealed more of its history through holographic records. Elias learned about its species, their culture, and the tragedies that had led to its solitude. It had been a survivor, not through destruction, but through wisdom, patience, and adaptability. Elias reflected on the lessons the warden had taught him. Fear could be overcome by understanding. Strength could be measured not by the ability to destroy, but by the ability to protect. And even the most feared being could be cherished by someone who saw beyond appearances. One evening, Elias projected a simple human forest scene, complete with the sound of wind through trees and a soft stream. The warden hovered closer than ever, its glow warm and steady. Elias reached out instinctively. He knew they could not touch physically, yet in that silent connection he felt their bond more strongly than ever. The warden pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Elias whispered, "I see you, not as a monster, not as a weapon, but as something extraordinary. And I cherish that." The warden responded with a complex series of light pulses, weaving patterns around the projection. Elias understood it as acknowledgement, perhaps even a question. Why did he see beauty in it when the galaxy saw only fear? Elias smiled faintly. "Because beauty exists where others fail to see it," he said. "Because understanding is stronger than fear. Because friendship can bridge worlds, even when no one else believes it can." For the first time in centuries, the warden allowed itself to be fully open with another being. It hovered near the ship, steady, calm, and responsive. Elias knew that the trust they had built was now unshakable. The next challenge came not from battle, but from choice. Galactic authorities began to approach, curious about the asteroid field and the reports of a powerful being cooperating with humans. Elias realized that revealing the warden could expose it to danger, or worse, exploitation. He turned to the warden. "We face a decision. Others will see you and they may not understand, but I trust you to choose. Whatever you decide, I stand with you." The warden pulsed slowly, as if considering the human's words. Then, to Elias' astonishment, it approached the ship and hovered close, its glow steady and reassuring. Elias interpreted this as agreement. Together, they would face whatever came, not as hunter and prey, but as allies. Days later, small ships from other species arrived, observing cautiously. Elias and the warden projected patterns of light and sound, displaying intelligence, calm, and controlled power. Observers were initially wary, expecting aggression. Instead, they witnessed coordination, protection, and mutual respect between human and warden. Slowly, their fear shifted to curiosity, then to cautious acceptance. Elias knew the galaxy would not immediately change its perception, but he felt a quiet pride. They had proven something extraordinary. Fear could be met with understanding, aggression could be met with cooperation, and even the most feared being could be cherished by one who truly saw it. The warden hovered nearby, its glow gentle. Elias whispered, "You've survived centuries of solitude, you've faced fear, war, and misunderstanding, but now you're not alone, and I promise you never will be." The warden pulsed in response, a rhythm that Elias felt deep in his chest. In that moment, he realized that the bond they shared was more than survival or curiosity. It was recognition, intelligence recognizing intelligence, courage recognizing courage, and trust recognizing trust. Myra approached quietly, her eyes reflecting awe. "Captain, you've done something incredible, not just for the warden, but for all of us. You've shown what humanity can be: curious, compassionate, and courageous." Elias smiled faintly. "It's not just me, it's all of us, and it's the warden too. Together, we've shown that understanding can triumph over fear." As the Odyssey prepared to leave the asteroid field, Elias projected one final scene, a simple human horizon with a rising sun and soft wind, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. The warden hovered close, its glow reflecting the light of the projection. Elias knew that their journey was only beginning. They had faced fear, danger, and the unknown, and they had emerged stronger, united by trust, respect, and mutual admiration. The galaxy beyond the asteroid field remained vast, uncertain, and full of challenges. But Elias knew this truth. Wherever they went, human courage, intelligence, and compassion could inspire even the most feared beings to see beauty, friendship, and hope. The Shadow Warden, feared by all, was now cherished by one. And that one human, Captain Elias Gray, knew that together they could face anything the universe held. The stars stretched endlessly, silent and indifferent. Yet within the asteroid field, a bond had formed that could not be broken. Two unlikely allies, one human and one legendary alien, had discovered a truth the galaxy had long forgotten. Understanding could conquer fear, and friendship could transcend worlds. Elias stood at the viewport, watching the warden drift among the rocks, glowing softly in rhythm with the projection of Earth's sunrise. He whispered quietly, "We'll face the universe together, and maybe, just maybe, we'll teach it that beauty exists even where fear once ruled." The warden pulsed once more, a steady, bright pulse that seemed to echo his words. And for the first time in centuries, it felt safe. Not just in the asteroid field, but in the presence of someone who truly saw it. The galaxy could still fear legends. The universe could still hold dangers beyond imagining. But one truth remained clear. Even the most feared being could find trust, companionship, and beauty in humanity. And Captain Elias Gray knew, without a doubt, that this was only the beginning of their shared journey. Together, human and warden, exploring the stars, understanding each other, and proving that courage, empathy, and curiosity could shine brighter than fear.